Good morning, everybody. This is George and Jake at EDC Leather, and today we're talking to a good buddy of mine, Mark Dittenber. Not only is he a friend of mine, but he is a Marine as well. Hoorah, brother.
Hoorah.
So, and not just a Marine, but he's just as dense as I am because he was a grunt.
That's right.
And the name of your company kind of reflects your history.
It's a Leatherneck Leathercrafts.
Yep. And you started kind of making some badass belts, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, it was one of those things. I kind of started getting into all this, just making some cosplay stuff and some belts and stuff, and then I was learning how to do basket weaving, and I had a cool little Texas basket weave stamp, and I was doing a belt and everything, and I was like, it'd be cool. Well, if you had
it'll be cool.
And it took me forever. I finally figured out. I got in touch with Barry King, one of his guys, and he, asked him to make that. And at first he said, I don't know if I can do this, but I'll try. And so he came back, he made it, and then I started doing Marine Corps belts, and things skyrocketed quickly after other jarheads knew I could make those belts. So,
well, we take and you find the guys that have been in the military, and most of them are pretty blasé. But you put an EGA up for a Marine, and we're buying that son of a gun.
We're buying it, damn it!
It's ours. But hey, as a quick note, leatherworkers, something you need to be aware of is the EGA is licensed.
Yeah, it is. And, I applied for a license, a hobby license, and you can make so much money a year. And you've got to report it, every time. And but it's actually a fairly easy process to get approved. It takes a little bit of time, but it's a fairly easy process. And, as long as you make under, I think, $5,000 a year, you can get a hobby license. Once it goes over that, then you got to start, you got some more paperwork and stuff to fill out.
Right.
But
right.
It's pretty easy to do. So,
do they offer you like holo stickers or something to show that it is a licensed product?
No, I've got a license number essentially is all that you get for it.
Okay. So, just be aware, everybody, it's not hard to get a crafter's license. It's not very expensive, but do that because you can and will be pursued if you try to break that rule.
Yep. Yeah, they can shut you down, if you advertise that stuff, and, it happens.
Yeah, and most of the universities, the football teams have that as well. You get a crafter's license. Like we do it for both the Oklahoma, states and stuff of that nature. And sometimes they require you to just pay a fee to do so many. Sometimes you have to buy their little holographic stickers, which is actually pretty cool because it shows you're licensed, and they all have a limit.
Yeah.
But it's a limit of how many of that product for the year. So you can do a bunch. There's no one thing that's so crazy. And if it does go crazy, hey, get the bigger license, you can afford it.
Right.
Yeah. So you got the EGA stamp, okay? But then you kind of went crazy after that, okay? Let me see this buckle, brother.
Yeah, so this was.
There's a whole story. There's a whole story to this buckle.
Yeah. I had my belt and loving it, feeling pretty proud of what I could do with that. And I was in a class down at Jim Linnell's, and talking about it and everything. And I remember we were driving to lunch. I was like, I got to find a way to get a cool Marine Corps buckle that's custom. And happened to be in a class with a guy, Troy West, who makes saddles out here in Hagel, Texas. Well, he's also a silversmith. So I remember Jim going, hey, Troy does silversmith working, and we started talking about it, and he basically has this flat buckle that he uses. We worked through some different ideas. I eventually sent him my old cover piece,
For your
and
garrison
he
cover?
mounted it on the buckle. And these are these are cast in solid bronze from my original uniform piece, and these are these are the best EGA buckle you'll ever find.
Yeah, that nobody else ever done them. And you won't
Nobody
sell
else
the
has
buckle
got
to
it.
me because you're a jerk.
What's that?
You won't sell me the buckles because you're a jerk.
Well, there is that, but I've got limited quantity in there for my belts.
Yep, yep. So that is the only place that you can get that belt and buckle set from. But you're not a full time leather shop. So when
I
they
am not.
want this, there is going to be a lead time.
Yeah, and generally, I'm all I'm even dreading this. Every time I post something, I'll get an order, and right now, I can only keep a couple custom orders going at a time,
Right,
and I'm easily 6 to 8 weeks out, for things.
right.
So
So we'll tell everybody just to wait in line, do their turn. You know, how many
yeah,
buckles you got left, brother?
I've only got a couple at the moment. I've actually got to place an order for some.
Okay, all right. So only two guys right now,
Yeah, yeah, just about.
and by God, you better be able to show us that you're a jarhead. Because the Navy guys, they're going to want to buy these just so they can touch them to see what it feels like, to be a real
Well,
man.
yeah,
Don't kill me. so, so that's kind of where you started. You started making some wicked belts. You also did, I think, some mug wraps and things of that nature as well.
Yeah, I mean, I've done just about everything. You name it. I've done guitar straps. I've done mug wraps. Little bags and a lot of things. I just found little stuff that I could make, mainly just to practice ideas and techniques and stuff. And so I would just make little tiny things and you know, uh, trying to make finished products just so I could follow it all the way through and just get the experience of doing everything.
Of course, the
Um,
minute you post up a picture on social media, though, usually it's followed by orders.
it
Uh,
usually is, yeah. I haven't posted on my social media channels in a while because like I said, every time I do, I get people from all over. Just I get orders.
yeah, yeah, and we have to be careful what we post up, because we're already staged out, for the next six
Sure.
months for our build schedule, and guys understand that I'm not even going to put you on the list for 6 months. you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, did I send you that picture? Hang on, check this out. I just got this gray lizard. Hand me one of them. Not that top one. That's mine. Nobody gets it. Check this out. So you know how hard it is to find gray, right?
Yeah.
Look at that son of a gun.
Oh wow. Oh yeah.
So when I saw that he had some, a friend of mine had some, and I'm like, "How much you got?" And he told me, I said, "I'll take it all. It's mine."
Yeah. You hardly ever see gray anything.
It's hard to find. He's got a lighter shade. This has got, I don't know if it's coming through, it's got a little bit of a hint of green, kind of the background. So if you think of, in the ocean on a gray day, it's got just that little bit of color. And of course,
Yeah.
being this thin, so man, on our clicking ships, we're going to be pre-clicking this out as trim.
Hmm. Okay.
Pretty wicked, huh? But gray is so hard
Yeah.
to find, I had to show it to you, brother.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I like it.
But I got that, and he had a bunch of old scrap gator and caiman. I mean, just horrible. Looks like they took a weed eater after it. But if I can find a spot this big, that's good enough for a reinforcement panel. You know what I mean?
Oh, easily. Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah. So I did that today, and that was pretty cool. So now you showed me a minute ago, or wait a minute, or nice shoes. Do you do much on those?
I did for a while. I was doing quite a bit. I actually had a reseller account with SOG knives, and yeah, I was buying knives just to make custom holsters for them and selling them at gun shows.
Right.
You know,
Is that
so
something that you don't do very much of anymore? Or?
I haven't done a show in a while, so I haven't done that sort of stuff. I've got a few left, but you know, like I said, I haven't done much to do shows. So
Now, you have a major advantage over a lot of people in the country, and we hate you for it. But being down in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, you have access to Jim Linnell's Leathercrafts Studios shop.
well, I mean, truthfully, that's how I've learned most things. I don't know how many classes I've taken out at gyms, and when I got into this, you know, trying to find different classes, and there was stuff listed up in Colorado and various places, and then one day I came across this place in Venus, Texas. And I'm like, Venus, Texas? I've heard of that place. I look it up on the map. I'm like, it's 40 minutes south.
Now we're a family-friendly podcast, so now we're going to have to beep you a little bit, brother.
Hey, you know I'm a jarhead.
But YouTube gets mean.
All right. So, you know, been down with Jim, I don't know how many times. And we've also got the Lone Star Leather Guild here. You know, the people that are involved in that. There's some just amazing leather workers all around. And, you know, being in this area is the best area to be if you want to learn this stuff.
Right. Now, the Lone Star Leather Guild, I believe you don't even have to live in Dallas-Fort Worth to join it. I think you can join it as an internet member, and you get, sometimes they do video of the meetings and stuff, and there's just a ton of resources in that guild. I think probably the most active leather guild in the country is Lone Star Leather Guild, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we're certainly the largest, and, you know, we have monthly meetings. They're often there, you know, we've got Zoom links, so, you know, we've got people all over that have come to our meetings.
So people all over the world could join Lone Star Leather Guild and then participate in the meetings.
Yeah, I mean, during the Rona there, the shutdown of the world, right? We were still having Zoom meetings for our guild, and, you know, we got members from all over the world, you know. So, and it, you know, absolutely blessed to be down here, to be immersed in it, and, you know, with all the resources that are here. It's just absolutely incredible. And so you know, I've only been doing this really a short amount of time, and, you know,
how many years have you been doing it, Mark?
What's that?
How many years have you been doing it, brother?
You know, I think June 21st will be 4 years.
And you have really ran the gamut. You know, you've ran through a lot of this stuff.
Oh yeah.
You haven't done a saddle yet, have you?
I've not done a saddle.
Is it coming?
You know, I don't know. I got enough to work, you know, elsewhere, and if I had a horse, I'd probably want to build my own saddle.
I do want to go and attend one of the shoe, even if it's a turn shoe classes. Shoes have always intimidated me.
Yeah, you know, I've watched some videos on that stuff, and there's, you know, there's some good resources out there, but I'd love to go to a class like that myself.
Yeah, I think, is it Lisa Sorrell or something is the one I keep hearing about.
She does. I don't know that she does classes anymore, but she's got a place up in Oklahoma, and she sells stuff. You know, all the tools and stuff you need.
I think that she has an internet-based course. We'll have to find out.
I think she's got a book. It's a set of books or videos. They're quite expensive, but I guess very detailed. So.
Well, shoes are not cheap either.
Yeah, right.
So, I mean, you know, if I can make my own, you know, I just want to do it once, even if it's the most horrifying shoe you've ever seen that, you know, has spikes inside. I'll put it up on the wall and say, I did that.
Yeah, right.
You know? That's kind of where I'm at on that, is doing that. But now you've also always leveraged technology into your work.
You know, always tried. I started out early I had access to. I was part of the Dallas Makerspace, which is, probably one of the largest maker spaces in the United States. And they had lasers, they had a wood shop, they had leatherworking stuff there as well. And I was using lasers early on to make either templates, sometimes cutting out pieces. I did a little bit of engraving with it, but I didn't care for that nearly as much for the type of stuff that I wanted to do. But yeah, I still did some pretty cool stuff with it.
Have you seen how T.G. Lucas, some of the stuff he's done? Have you seen that? Like he did the Texas State Seal on a Supreme Court Justice boot top?
I don't think I've seen that.
What he did is, all the tiny little oak leaves and all that extreme detail.
Yeah.
He ran the laser there on a real thin line, and then used that instead of the swivel knife on some of the high detail stuff.
Sure.
And was able, and then he's a very good carver and a good colorist. So combining all three of those things together, it was a really cool deal. And he said, I'll go ahead and use my swivel knife and cut where I need to. But
Right.
then otherwise, I may just leave that like that. And by the time you background and you mat it and you antique it or color it, you're like, how in the world should you do that?
I'll have to check that out because there are some things that I would love to do like that. Obviously, I do a lot of EGAs and trying to get that Semper Fidelis in the ribbon, that's above the eagle. That's tough with some of the small stuff that I do.
So I saw a piece that you did with an EGA last year at the
Yeah.
Log at Dallas Fort Worth. Would you show us that?
Yeah.
And yep, there you go, right there. Look at that, guys. So there's an EGA. I don't see a banner with the Semper Fidelis on it. What are you doing?
Yeah, I took it out for this one. I actually did another one for somebody, and I added it in.
Now
this is the first one.
Yeah. Now this piece here, I believe, was before you started really concentrating on your pattern making.
Yeah. I had the idea for this. I knew what I wanted, but my drawings were atrocious. They were horrible. I could see it in my head. I could not translate it.
And I think a lot of us have that issue. So were you able to find? Obviously, you found a way to get around that. What did you do, Mark?
Yeah, so a guy, I hope I pronounced his name correctly, Gabor Pinter. I knew that he had drawn stuff. I checked out his site for some other stuff, and one day I noticed that he had a link for, he'd draw a pattern, we draw your pattern. So I contacted him, gave him my idea, and we went back and forth a little bit. At first, I don't think he thought he could do it. But I gave him a couple ideas of what I had to kind of flush it out, and then lo and behold, he came up with that design, and it was perfect. It was absolutely what I was dreaming of, and going into it, I wasn't sure how it was really going to look, but once I finally got it done, I was like, yeah, that's a good. That's a good EGA right there.
And was that overly expensive or pretty reasonable for any leather crafter, you think?
I think for something like that, it was reasonable. It was drawn up, basically 8.5 by 11. It was under $100. So.
That's the deal. And then, of course, now you commissioned it, you bought it. This is your pattern,
Yeah.
So, I think that's a fantastic solution that a lot of people don't know about. But then you went from there, and you decided you were going to learn how to draw.
Yeah.
In fact, you opened up a social media page called the Crack of Drawn, DRAWN, right?
Yeah, so along the way, over the years, I'd sit down for, a few days. I'd try and draw some patterns and stuff. And, it was awful. but I had all these ideas. And so finally, at the start of the year, I just committed myself to drawing every day. And,
And I see you
started.
post this stuff at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. Because I'll be
Yeah.
driving.
Oftentimes I'm up early because I'm up with the dogs.
Oh,
So
okay. Well, this
it
here,
all depends.
product placement.
Yeah,
This here
right.
is what gets me up.
Yeah, so
Makes me
I'll
smart
draw.
and skinny.
Yeah, right. Um, I'll draw for 5-10 minutes, and just try and do something. And so, some people were interested in what I was doing, so I just created this page and invited some of my friends in, and
I think it's starting to grow.
It's got it's nearly 1,200 people now, and
That's awesome.
I just started it in January. Um, and yeah, every day I draw and it's getting better and better. And it's, some of those ideas that I had are, they're paying off. Um, this is one.
Hang on, let me get to it. There we go. Yeah, baby, Mythosaur Alley.
Yeah.
Okay. And so you drew this one. You didn't purchase the pattern on this one. You drew this one.
I drew this one. Yeah.
And how long did it take you to create that the carving pattern inside of that?
I don't know. I mean, I go through 2 or 3, 4 versions before I get the one that I like.
Uh-huh.
And I'll do that, a little bit at a time. I mean, it took me probably, over the course of, 2 or 3 weeks to get to the final pattern.
Do you think, would this be a pattern that you would be willing to sell digitally, or have us put on our site to sell digitally for other makers that want to try it?
Yeah, I could probably. I hadn't really thought about that, but yeah,
we could do it. We could do that if you wouldn't mind kind of carving another one. We'll get a bunch, and we'll shoot some images to show tools.
Yeah.
And I'd love to put that up if that's okay with you.
Yeah.
There's a lot of other geeks like me. And are you allowed to show the most recent one before competition?
Yeah, I don't really care. But yeah, I mean, this is going to iClog.
Superman. You are going to do a Batman, correct?
I am working on it.
When offered a choice, always be Batman.
That's right.
So that is wicked cool.
Yeah, this one took 5 versions. I drew 4 versions, and then I digitized it. And then while I was digitizing it and cleaning lines up and stuff, I redrew probably a half of it as I was doing that.
Let's back up and talk about that just for a moment, okay? When doing digital or scanning and doing digital, I believe you're more in the Apple world. Is that correct? And what are some of the tools that you find best to do digital pattern drawings with?
I don't. I'll go wherever the application is, but I mainly work off of Apple stuff. Currently, I'm using a product called Affinity Designer.
Okay.
And the reason I'm using that is I can use it on my iPad. I can use it on my laptop. And so I can draw on my iPad and then bring it into my laptop, and it's the same program.
Is your laptop Windows?
I have a Windows laptop and I have an Apple laptop.
Can you bring it into the Windows environment, or does it have to stay in Apple?
I can bring it into the Windows environment. I can bring it anywhere I want.
How do you feel drawing on a tablet as opposed to drawing on your desktop or your laptop?
It's different because on the tablet, you've got the pen. It works really good. I do have a pen for my my laptops, which has better control, but it's not as convenient the way the hookups and stuff work. So I don't really use it that much.
You have to use like a
And
Wacom to interface.
yeah, it's similar to a Wacom. Yeah. Um, and the other nice thing about Affinity Designer, it has two modes. It has what we call vector graphics mode, which is
That's where I
uh,
live.
yeah, Adobe Illustrator, that sort of thing, where you can
Mm-hmm.
draw a line and then you can adjust it and move it
Then
to exactly where
manipulate
you
it.
want it
Yeah.
to be. It also has a pixel editing mode, so I can also go back in and draw like I would with a pencil or a paintbrush.
Okay.
And so it blends the best of both worlds. The pixel mode isn't nearly as powerful as, say, Procreate on an iPad
I
or
believe you
Photoshop.
used Procreate before, didn't you?
I have, and I still use it occasionally. Every once in a while, I'll draw a pattern. It's got a cool feature where it'll record all of your drawing strokes, and you can output a video of the drawing. So I still use Procreate for that every once in a while. Um, but so it's got this pixel editing mode, so it blends the best of both worlds, and it's amazingly cheap for what you get,
How
and
much? That's the first thing people are going to ask.
I think the whole bundle they sell, the Affinity Designer, the publisher, and this other one, I think for like $100, maybe 120, but you can use it on any device.
And is
I
that
think
a yearly fee, Mark, or is that you own it?
no, that's for version 2 that they just released. So they've got an upgrade coming 2.1 that will be free. I think maybe Affinity Designer by itself might be 40-50 bucks, but I don't remember. It's significantly cheaper than Adobe Illustrator.
And yeah, I mean we pay the monthly fee on that because I always want it updated. We have the whole suite
Yeah, yeah,
because it edits us videos, it does our sound. We use Lightroom for all of our stuff. So for us, it's a good product. But I'm really
yep.
interested in this Affinity. Now, can I output from the Affinity in several different formats so I could open it up in different programs and manipulate the drawing, or is it proprietary?
Now you can export out to EBS files, PDF files that Adobe Illustrator can open. So
Great. And what about going back and forth with Procreate?
I don't think you can. Well, you can output to PDF and bring it into
And
Procreate,
then
but I don't.
manipulate?
Yeah, I don't think you can take a Procreate file into Affinity though.
Okay.
You could output an image and then bring that image into Affinity.
Right, right, right. Which would be as long as I can manipulate it at that point.
Yeah.
So, but this is something that, we constantly hear people talking about and they're questioning. And I think we might have to make another video with Affinity and maybe with Procreate, if nothing else, just showing how to set up the toolbar.
Yeah, yeah.
So that guys would say, okay, these are the tools that I'm going to use. If I want to warp this line, if I want to, define it with a numerical structure or whatever I want to do. Or like one of the things I'm working on right now in AI is strokes. We can define like a vine or an acantha,
Yep.
and I can make a stroke in any shape I want, say how many they are, what size they are. With a wipe of the mouse, I've created an entire border, a vine
Yeah.
work
Oh,
or a
yeah. You
belt.
can do a similar thing in Affinity Designer.
I think that people are really going to find this useful, and there's nobody out there right now to help them do leather patterns this way. So we really need to talk about this, brother. It's
Yeah,
going to be a
yeah.
good thing. You know, so now we also got you use technology in other ways. I'm going to flip this thing back. And your tool, man, I remember when you do the 3D printing, and you still have that maker space. Look at this flippin' tool rack. Oh my God, how many does it hold?
This one holds, what, 6 times 32, whatever that is.
180, 200.
Yeah.
And then I think you make a couple sizes of those.
Yeah, I've got that one. That was very hard to find somebody that could print that because it's so big. And then I've got a smaller one right here that is 5 by 28. So what, 140?
Yeah, and now do they just put that on a Lacy Susan or something? I saw the oven spins, or do
Yeah,
you manufacture it with a rotating ability?
no, you just get a Lazy Susan, off of Amazon. That's what I did for that one.
And
And
why is that not vibrant pink? I mean, I've
yeah,
seen your ski suits and your hammer. Do you have your mall there? We want to see your mall.
the Clay Miller one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's over there. This is the one that I use currently. This is the Ed LaBar.
Oh, Ed. Oh, yeah. Put on EGM for it, didn't he?
Yep.
Ed does some great work. Now you use both Clays and Eds, okay,
Yep.
guys. Honest review here, guys. Which is your favorite, brother?
I like Ed's, the mall part, the mal part, whatever. It's denser. Um, I do like the feel of Clay Miller's better, but the
The balance and the
HDP
grip.
that he uses, gets beat up fairly easily. Um, Ed's has got a tougher one, but the Clay's fits in my hand extremely nice.
So different makers. You're going to find advantages one way or the other. Uh, uh, so nobody is like obviously on top of each other. Well, you got to look at the level of Clay Miller, the level of Ed Labar. We're not talking two no-name guys here. We're talking pros.
Yep. No, they both make great stuff. They're just, the feel of them is a little bit different. And I've been using Clays for quite a while before I got this one from Ed. It took me a little bit to adjust to the balance of it and the feel of it. But I love the head because it does not get torn up.
Did he groove that? I really can't tell. Is it grooved to grab a bite, or is it just smooth?
Nope. It's
That's too dark to see, brother. Is it
yeah,
just smooth?
it's
There you
smooth.
go.
It has like, I don't know, maybe like a 600 grit grain kind of finish. It's just got it's not smooth, it's rough smooth.
Okay, kind of a satin finish.
I don't, yeah, it's kind of got a little bit of a satin finish. Whatever the material is, it's hard.
But you don't have problems with it skidding off the tool head when you strike.
Right. I mean, it hits and it's a solid strike.
And so that has really aided you in your bar grounding. Are you enjoying bar grounding, brother? Would you like to have a 5 dot bar grounder?
I have them, but when I was doing this, I was practicing bar grounding. I did this with a 3 dot bar grounder,
Oh my god,
fairly small size.
my head hurts just thinking about that.
This the second day of tooling on this, the majority of it was bar grounding.
Yeah. So how many days of work was that, brother? And I know you have to do things part time. You're not doing it 8 hours a day.
All of the carving was 2 days. So the first day I did all the major floral carving. Second day was bar grounding, some of the accent stuff for that, and then some decorative cuts and stuff.
Right. And once again, I know you got a lot of your background in carving from Jim Linnell. I believe he's got a lot of video assets that you can hit on his at Elk Track Studio, doesn't he?
Oh, absolutely.
I think
Yeah.
his 8 video set that he did before he retired from Tandy on the wallet, and it was step by step.
Oh
I
yeah.
think it's one of the finest basic carving instructions I've ever seen. And I
I don't know if
think
I've
he does
seen
it for free.
He does excellent stuff, and you know he's got his site, but he does a lot of stuff for free off of his pages.
A lot of it.
You can go there and see all sorts of stuff that he's done. he's been the uh, guy at the Lone Star meetings. He's done a lot of demonstrations on
He
stuff.
goes
Just
to
at the
most every leather show
Yeah, I think
and
he's just
teaches.
about every one.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Um,
this is living, and his living is sharing with guys like you and me.
yeah, absolutely.
So
Uh,
I mean, and he's been a blessing to me, and he's willing to. I can call him up and say, "This is really kicking my butt right here." What do I need to do? And as
yeah.
George doesn't carve a lot, but he's not just a one facet person. Jim's got a lot of various skills.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But
I mean, he does a lot of carving, but he's run the gamut on everything leather work.
have you ever seen Labar's natural colors classes or colors of nature or whatever it is?
No, he was going to do a class at the last iFlog, but I guess he couldn't make it. So hopefully one day I'll get to one of his classes. He does some really cool
I
work
mean,
as
you
well.
think you're in a hardwood, you're in an oak forest, looking at the leaves on the ground from fresh green all the way through to the brown, and just
Right.
the way
Right.
I think his method of coloring involves sacrificing a chicken and nailing it to a door and dancing naked, because I sure as hell can't make that happen. You know. So, but he does teach classes there. I don't think he does a lot of video content, does he? I don't think I've ever seen any.
I don't think so. I haven't seen that from. So
Yeah. Who are some other resources you can think of, brother? On the, especially in the carving, because everybody can get a set of basic tools, a small piece of leather, and they are in the craft, getting their zen on. You know what I mean? Without doing like we did. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. For carving, I mean, Jim's got a lot of people. I've taken classes from Annie Libertini. If you want to do figure carving, learn portraits and stuff like that, she's got a bunch of stuff. I've taken some of her classes in person.
Yep.
Um, uh, I'm going to get the guy's name wrong now. Tony Burnett. He's out of
Yeah,
Minnesota.
yeah. He did. He does a lot of. He teaches a lot of perspective carving
Yes, he
and getting it right. Oh my gosh!
yes, he's got some great resources on that.
I want to get his
Um,
book. He does a three-color thing to give you, back, middle, background, middle ground, foreground.
yeah, yeah, he approaches it from a little bit different perspective, and it's amazing for how some of his stuff looks. It's just incredible, and
We'll make
you know,
Jake find his social media and link it in the description. Actually, for
absolutely.
all these guys.
Um, and the one thing that I found, I have picked up different things that work for me and what I do from everybody. And I may not do everything the same way Jim does, but there are some things that I've learned from him that will stick with me because those work for the type of stuff that I do.
Right.
Same with some of the things, from Annie and Tony. Um, everybody's got something to teach you. I took a class from Chris Andre and Robert Beard at the last
What did you
iFlog.
do from Chris Andre?
We did basically a floral carving, um, and then the next day was with Robert doing the landscape carving. And so I picked up different things from Chris, and he approaches his carvings differently than Jim.
Oh, really,
And
really.
yeah, and so uh, every time I do something, a lot of times anyway, I'm trying out different techniques and stuff, and just say let's see if this works. And I would say with the last two, the Boba Fett, the Mythosaur, and the Superman, um, I think I've seen where I've blended their approach not necessarily their style, but their approach to how I started carving those.
Yeah, no, I mean the stuff that Chris Andre does on Western holsters is just,
Amazing.
oh my gosh,
Yeah.
and he teaches it, and he teaches it one on one, dude. I think for like 750, you're in his shop one on one
Yeah.
for a week.
Yeah.
And you know what you can do in a week. Give me a side of leather in a week with somebody like Chris Andre, who is also, by the way, a Marine. Hoorah!
Marine. Yeah. Yeah.
I think he's some commo guy though, wasn't he?
I don't know what he did.
You know. So I mean, he's a Marine, so he's automatically good people.
He's automatically good. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but his stuff is. But there's one thing that he said once that I really took to heart. You remember, and you'll see on all his website and stuff, that Scottish targe, the shield.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he said he carved it like 10 years ago. He's never been able to sell it. Okay. But that product on his social media has sold him more other product. So, guys, when you're looking at doing something, don't just stick with, I'm going to do these, this small project, this project, because I can sell it. Sometimes shooting for the moon, doing something that's just amazing, your clientele may not be able to afford or want that item, but they're going to look at it and say, he's awesome. He did that. So you're obviously the expert at this too. You know what I mean? So I think that's something there. Now, we led in with the Western holsters because you showed me something here a few minutes ago over your left shoulder for your wife.
Yeah.
Okay, and this is because you can never make anything straightforward. You always have to be weird. So this is a Western gun rig.
Basically. This is a camera belt. I don't know if you can see. So that metal piece right here.
Okay, what's that?
She's got a deal that on the bottom of her camera that slides into this.
Like
and
one
so
of the shoes? Okay.
Yeah. And so, she can walk around and have her camera at her side. So I made this belt like a Western gun rig.
All right, and then the pouch, is this something, where's she wearing this rig at? Other than anywhere she damn well wants to.
Yeah. She does a lot of Renaissance fairs.
Okay, so she's Ren fairing with this.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so this year I made this pouch for her.
Okay.
To fit on it, and that's a 3D embossed.
That's
dragon.
A high embossed dragon, and where do you learn that technique at?
I learned that at Jim Linnell.
Once again, Jim Linnell's.
Yeah.
And the scales are carved, or is that embossed leather?
That is all carved.
Boy, howdy. All right. And then you got a couple D-rings. Is that to hold her ale mug, or?
Yeah, she's got things that she hangs off of it,
And then I noticed she has a big-ass stabby item there.
Yeah, this was actually, I made this. This was one of the first things I made.
Was the sheath? The sheath or the stabby?
Yeah, I made the sheath. This was, for cosplay, basically. I made this for. It doesn't, it doesn't match the belt. This is a different color.
So you need to remake. I think you need to remake that, correct?
Yeah, might have to, right? But yeah, I mean, I learned, just learning different techniques about gun belts and stuff. I was like, I can apply this to different things, and she can walk around with her camera that's got the 270 to 200 zoom lens on it. She can walk around, put it in her holster, and she doesn't even feel it.
Really, really? Is that what, a 2.5-inch belt?
This might be 3.
And double layer, I assume.
It is double layer. 3-inch.
3-inch belt.
Yep.
So there's half a cow there, guys.
Yeah, right. It's a double layer, and I want to say I made this after I came back from my first classes with you guys.
Okay, cool. And well, then I guess we're coming to things that are near and dear to my heart, which is of course holsters and gun belts. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And that's when we met. I believe you came to one of our first classes, I think.
I think it may have been the second one, but it was the one where you had the pancake 101 and then the taco 201 right after it.
Oh yeah, 2 in 1 week. That was hateful. Boy, I was
Yeah,
hurting.
yeah,
So on the pancake, and I think I saw a pattern of yours before you went to class.
yeah.
And what was that designed to? Oh my God, what was that designed to hold?
Uh, a Glock 19.
That's spiritual, brother. Um,
Yeah, right.
and we still
That's
see a
a good
lot of them
word
being
for
made
it.
that way.
What's that?
We still see a lot of them being made that way,
Yeah,
and
I
it's
know,
just a
right?
matter of learning some principles. And so then you came to class, and we beat on you pretty heavily for 6 or 7 days.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about it. I remember when I called you, we had JR on the line because I was telling you I want to come to both, and you both, I think, were like, we're not letting this kid into both of these. He needs. But somehow I convinced you to let me take both, and so I ended up going to both classes
it's
there.
it's a lot to take in, I think.
It
And
is.
you ran it. You ran a concentrated regime there.
Yeah.
How? What did you think? I mean, I always tell people ask somebody else or go to Holster Makers Boot Camps on Facebook, and don't ask me because I'm the fellow with something to sell. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
said so. Get the info from everybody.
Yeah, yeah, for me it was being immersed in that. Even the Pancake 101, a lot of it was just getting back in and remembering. Oh yeah, there's all these mechanics that go into the body and how you draw a weapon and stuff. It's easy for me to design and build a holster for myself because I know those things, but I got to think about it when I'm doing it for somebody else.
Right.
And
We're going to look at the musculoskeletal system, how things work, and as you know, I'm a big proponent of getting a bone lock on the draw.
yeah,
I cannot make a person any better at their draw or going to battery and ready to fire. What I can do is try to design the person out of it to where they're forced to draw properly, if that makes sense.
yeah, yeah, no, it is. I mean, we see a lot of that stuff and a lot of the stuff that's posted. It seems like that. Like, how would you get that out of the holster quickly, and properly? So. But the big thing was, not just learning all those mechanics, but the difference for me was realizing you were teaching us how to build the holster that we want to build. And I'd been to a lot of good classes, leatherworking classes, where you come in and you build this thing.
Right.
And you can learn a lot from those classes. I absolutely have, and I'll continue to take those classes. But yours was how do you properly design a safe and functional holster for somebody? And obviously, we build them, but we were building our designs from those principles, as opposed to, here's my holster pattern, and you're going to make it.
Right. And there's value in both kinds of classes. I teach both. When I go to the shows for starting a new series, you're familiar with our click and ship
Yep.
holsters, and the classes I teach there will be: here is the leather. Choose the firearm you want. I'll bring in the blue gun, and we're going to show you all the how to adjust the leather and the pattern to fit the firearm you want. How to glue it up, how to mold it, dye it, seal it, which are all important skills. But the boot camps are designed, and I'm sure
Yeah.
you've seen me. I'll go around, and I'm constantly walking behind you guys, and I'm not a nice guy. I am a Marine, and I will get in your face and say that is lazy design. I don't want to see lazy design. And
Right.
and you're not you're not drawing one pattern. You're drawing what, 8, 10, 12 times, going back over it.
Easily. Easily.
And then when you're really happy with it, I'm going to tell you, do it again, but do it different.
Do it again, right?
And then you're going to pick the pattern that you and I both agree is good and solid. And then you're
Yep.
going back to the shop and you're going to hang out with Garrett. And then you're going to build what you build.
Yep.
And I think on
Yeah.
the
No,
pancake we're doing two.
it was immensely valuable, and I came back. In a lot of ways, I changed my workflow on stuff, just how I was doing things, some of the tools I was using. Uh, you know, I was cutting templates out with, on acrylic, and those work really well. But in a small shop that I have, you got limited space. Um, I just started printing them out on cardstock like we
That's
were using.
Yeah.
And if I screw it up or whatever, or I can, or if I want to change it, now I've got a 8 degree, I can have a 9 degree, I can have a 10 degree, an 11 degree, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and I can easily print it out, print it, and do one, for the type of work, essentially one-offs. That's perfect.
But you should never, anytime you have a pattern before you go chopping it up, you need to put a couple reference lines to make sure that the scanner does not scale it, and save that pattern as a digital product. You can print it as many times as you want, because nothing's going to suck worse than you make a holster, you sell it to somebody, it comes back 2 years later, I want another one just like my last one, and you're like, do you have it? No, my dog ate it, and you have absolutely no idea what he's got, and you have to deal with that as a custom builder.
Yeah, and what I do now is oftentimes I'll start with a pencil drawing. Sometimes I'll just start on the computer, but I digitize all mine and bring it in. I was using Fusion 360 for all of my patterns. I've since moved to Affinity Designer.
Right.
And so
Fusion
now I've
360 is kind of a little heavy. That's taking a sledgehammer after a flea.
Well, it's nice because of the parametric modeling and stuff that you can do, and it's what I designed these tool holders and stuff in, and it's real easy for me to build stuff in that. But yeah, I've since moved to just doing 2D drawings in Affinity Designer. So I have all of my patterns are digital, and they're scaled properly, and I can make sure that the line is the line, what the length it should be.
I absolutely want to get together and make a couple of basic videos using Affinity and all that. I'll go ahead and get it. We'll become familiar with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And we'll see, what we do. But I think a lot of people have interest in this. I mean, you've seen it too. I mean, how many questions do you get about it?
Yeah,
so if
yeah.
we can help people that way, we ought to. Okay,
Yeah.
so you came to the boot camp, but now you have some holsters that you showed me. Do you have one from prior to boot camp?
I don't have one from prior to boot camp. I had that drawing. I purge stuff every once in a while, so all my crap gets cut and thrown out occasionally. I got limited space, so.
Well, show me what you got, brother. Let's take a look at it. Yeah, I may harass you about this. So that would be the Desert Eagle, wouldn't it?
I made this one right after class.
Right.
Yeah, this is a Desert Eagle chest shoulder holster.
Okay.
So.
And how's the balance?
It's a Desert Eagle. When you have it fully loaded, it's heavy. It rides up underneath here, and you can feel it come down. You got, if you got 2 fully loaded magazines, this is still heavier.
That much.
So yeah, I don't get out with my Desert Eagle much, but you know,
Well, I got something for you that I'll have a pattern for you to play with. So Dave Peterson found the actual original clicker dies from the movie Tombstone for the Doc Holliday holster.
yeah,
So we got the originals, and then I've taken and worked that, and I played with some balance points, and I've modified up some patterns for that for semi-autos. But that would be a great solution for that Desert Eagle with the over the shoulder and then a torso.
Probably would.
So I'll work on that. I'll get the harness and the rig, and I'll show you the balance points.
All right.
And then you can do it. So what do we got here, brother? You're pulling out something.
This is one that you and I talked about doing, so
Yep.
I was just like, I'll do it one day.
Little chest rig action.
This is a chest rig. It'll sit right here. But I did a sidecar on it, here.
Right. That's perfectly acceptable in that rig. And what did you use for your straps on that?
This is just nylon webbing.
Okay. Did you buy it as a belt?
No, I just bought nylon webbing and the clips.
If you go on Amazon right now, brother, you can get the 1.5-inch nylon belts with the adjustable Cobra buckle on them.
Yeah.
For $6.50.
Oh wow.
You buy two of them. It's prime free shipping. Buy two of them. You got a torso belt. You got an over the shoulder belt. You're done. But show us on the back of that. Not the back of the holster, but the back of the webbing. How one goes over the other. So see what you did there. I do that instead of doing the leather there. I wrap the webbing around and I stitch it, and that way it can slide back and forth a little bit.
Oh, I got you. Yeah.
For different fellas, does that make sense?
Yeah.
So did you just capture the webbing in between and stitch that?
Yeah. Yeah, I just stitched it all the way around, and
So it's static in its location.
Yeah.
Okay, and for so which gun is that?
This is for a Steyr, the M9.
Okay. There you go.
I guess some of the Glock, guys went and to Steyr and they made this.
Oh yeah. So that's a cool rig. And you own that firearm? Is that one of your personal rigs, or is that going to a customer?
Those are all mine. I own those pistols.
Okay, what do we have? What's this?
This is a cross draw holster for a P320.
Okay. Is that a compact or full size?
This is compact.
Look at that compact, but I think I see a little carving on that. What's going on there? Oh, let me guess. An EGA. All right, but black on black. Didn't it break your heart a little bit to carve something up and then just dye it black?
Yeah, well, it does have a little bit of silver over the EGA.
Oh, okay.
Just a little. It gives a little.
Okay, you're doing a single tunnel design on that.
Yeah.
Let me see the back of it. Let's look at your thumb break. Okay, I see a rivet back there. Is that correct?
A what?
Did I see metal on the back there?
Yeah.
Okay, I taught you better than that, brother. Bury that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. How does that rig carry, brother?
This is perfect. It's a cross draw. It's great for the truck.
Yeah. Have you seen some of the carjacker designs?
No, I don't think so.
So I'm working on bringing that design out as a click and ship. So you know the challenges I have to make it fit, right? So instead of a single stitch tunnel, you will have remember Lowell Harvey's hooded holsters?
Yeah.
Kind of take that attitude and we'll form the tunnel by having a strap come around over the belt and then snap on the front of the gun.
All right.
So you don't have to take your belt off. What do you got in mind? Where'd you go? All right, so now see that's a hooded holster, right? Now why don't we use that hood, come all the way back from right around the trigger guard, okay, and come up and over using that to form the belt tunnel. So I'm using on the back. But that, by the way, too, go ahead and show that off a little bit. It's a Lowell Harvey design. Or
Yep.
did you, and that's a hooded holster. You don't happen to have a blue gun for that, do you?
I have, well,
Or a real gun?
I do have a blue gun. This is for a Colt Python. I do have a Colt Python as well.
Is it like way far away?
Yeah, it's not easy to get to.
Okay. So what the hood is, if you stand that thing up vertically, the hood, if you look, the leading edge of that, point to the leading edge, the bottom of the hood, that stands past the edge of the holster. So by doing that, guys, if you have rain or debris coming down, it will not go down the holster. That acts as like eaves of a house. It sheds it out. So a fantastic design. Have you had an opportunity to wear that?
A little bit, but I don't carry my Python around very much. So
fantastic, beautiful holster.
Because Lowell, we did those classes with him up there at your shop.
And our primary goal there was to learn welted holsters and to learn the methods of retention based on different firearms. Like you can't do some things with a Ruger and then a Smith and all that, which ones worked. Good have to make that again and line one up, buddy. Do some little pre-lining.
No, this is, I am, pretty happy about how this one came out.
It's a gorgeous holster.
I made it to match my belt.
Oh, you're a fancy fella.
Yeah. So that one, and then my latest one. It started out as this.
Yeah.
And things were going well until I had too big of a belt loop.
You think? Yeah.
And I was like, how am I going to stitch it together? And so, luckily, I found enough to get it. I kind of finished it, and then I put the gun in it and made a few adjustments from that anyway.
And what happens to mistakes like that?
Like I said, I do keep them around for a while to just, look at them and feel sorry, Eventually I'll cut it up and it'll get tossed in the trash. But I do keep it around and look at it and go, you bonehead.
Yeah. So your lessons learned. Then what did you do?
Then it became this.
Okay. I see a little second Mardiv there.
Yeah.
Okay. But let's look at the back and how you handled the belt loop this time. So I just shrunk that down a little bit. I think you could have shrunk it a little bit on the height or down below the buckle as the tunnel as well.
Yeah.
I think you may have extended that a bit far. And let's look at your thumb brake, and that is for.
This is for 1911.
That's for 1911.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming you don't have a blue gun handy for that.
Yeah, I don't.
But so good. And where is your snap hitting on the 1911? I like to see that just peeking over the edge of the top of the slide.
It's with the safety. It's hitting just on the safety. Kind of comes back up like this. It's hitting on that top edge of that safety.
Of the safety. Okay, that'll still work. And that's because you carry cocked and locked.
Yeah. This is for a cocked and locked 1911.
Okay, fantastic. Are you going to enter that one in the iFlug this year? I think you ought to.
I did. I made it specifically for that.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you're a fancy fella.
Yeah. This was I wanted to test out some ideas. I wanted to make something that looked cool and something that I could enter, and this is going to be it.
Fantastic. What other goodies do you have for me? Make Mark dig stuff up. Oh, yeah.
Showed you this.
All right, you have to turn it a little bit so the light gets on the EGA. Looky there. Is that gilded, or what did you do there? How did you get the more of the metallic sheen? What did you do?
This is Tandy EcoFlow water stain with the gold overspray.
Okay. And then you just did a little halo around it?
Yeah.
And what do you do on
The
the inside? So this is a little journal cover? Or?
Yeah, but it's awful. I don't know how well it comes across. Look at the stitching on that. It's
Oh, my.
disgusting.
What? Wow. If you cut that thing apart and just keep the EGA, it's not bad.
Right? This is one of the first ones I did after I got my sewing machine, and I was learning, but it's awful.
Yeah, but I like the colors, like the way it flows, and of course it has an EGA, so it makes me happy.
Right,
You know.
right.
And then
Uh,
we kind of transitioned when you first came down to Springfield. We were still heavily involved in the retail world, and as you know, we've kind of transitioned out of that, mostly because of guys like you when you were in the shop and you're like, uh, what's that? And I'd say, well, this is how we build our holsters. And then guys
sure.
are saying, well, why don't you sell it? And I'm like, I didn't know anybody'd want it. So guys like you kind of changed us, and we've become more of a supplier to the holster and belt industry. Although we sell holsters just to agencies this time, be it a township or a county, you know what I mean, or a full agency. But mostly what we do now is I design patterns and make them available to guys like you. Uh, is there any of the pattern stuff that you found useful? I know you draw 90% of your patterns in order to use the stitch traces, or
I don't know how many templates I've bought from you.
I think all
Um,
of them.
this was a rifle sling template that I bought from you that I'm working on.
All right.
You
Yep.
know,
Then you're gonna trim it out.
yeah, it's got to be trimmed and stitched and all that good stuff. Um, I don't. I mean, and early on, I was buying stitch traces from you until you taught me how to make my own.
There you go. Put
Uh,
myself out of business.
yeah. Um, uh, I swear I just got something else from you, but I can't remember what it was.
Hey Jake,
Um,
what did Mark buy recently? He's looking you up.
he's looking me up. I mean, I know I've got, I got the Texas tray from you.
Oh my gosh, aren't those cool?
Hell yeah.
Did you make one yet?
I have.
Did you see what Lowell Harvey did with that Oklahoma?
Yeah, this is the EGA tray.
Hang on, I gotta get it to where it's. There you go. You got it upside down, brother. Freaking jarhead. Yeah, now I'm talking to him too. If we take the EGA, right, and we
Yeah.
do an offset path, we can still hold some of the vague shape of the EGA and then still have that inside of it. So I'm going to have you build us another one
All right.
so that
I'm
we
good
can
with
check
that.
it out. And
All right.
I want some of that shape and the offset.
Yeah, yeah.
And if you get one of the others, get one without anything on it, because you saw how Lowell Harvey carved that one, or did you see that? He put one of
Yeah, I
his
did.
stargazer lilies.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I hate that guy. He just does everything so damn pretty, and I can't do it.
Yeah, I've been wanting to do something with the Texas one. I know what I've ordered from you recently is the molds, uh, the magazine molds.
Oh, the red molds.
Yeah, I've used those recently. I made some Leatherman holders using those.
How do they work out?
The double stack works perfect for them.
No fake, and of course, all you just mold one side.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've got the masters, not for the Leatherman, for the what's the other one? The one we got issued in the core. Gerber. I got for the M400, M600 Gerbers.
Oh, okay.
I just haven't had time to make. I've got the masters, but Jake has to create the mold. Jake, but you know, but
Take those.
Yeah, so we're gonna have that. I think it's a 400 to 600. I have both of those, and that comes at sharper point at the end.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah, I'd be interested in those. I mean, if I was doing this full time, uh, I mean, it's probably a couple things. I'd certainly use your click and ship stuff for holster stock.
we're going to be clicking and shipping full shoulder holsters this year.
Oh, nice. Everybody wants a shoulder holster for some reason. Um,
And if we like to make them, it's a $225 to $250 holster every time. That's with no embellishment whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, and what I would do too is if I was doing this full time, I'd get my own dies and I'd have you click my stuff for me until I could afford my own clicker.
Yeah, we do that for a lot of guys, but what they've been doing that kind of freaked me out, they're keeping the outside shape of the click and they're redrawing the reinforcement panel. And that way they're only buying the reinforcement panel. That completely changes the look of the holster. And magically their stuff comes, with that.
Yeah.
And it doesn't bother me. I mean, whatever they want to do.
Yeah, but I mean that's a good idea too, to just kind of you can kind of change things up a little bit. I do get bored making the same thing over and over. I also, once the glue comes out, I'm done. I want to move on to the next project.
Right. Yeah. All right, it's glued up. It looks like that. All right, I'm done. What are we doing now? And that's just primarily because, glue makes you smarter. Did you know that?
Yeah, right.
Well, what happens, it's like a lion on the Serengeti, and your brain cells are wildebeests. So the lions only eat the weakest wildebeests.
That's right.
Thereby leaving the herd stronger.
It's like drinking.
Right. It only kills the weak brain cells.
That's right.
And on glue, we're masters, guys. What do you use?
I mainly use masters on holsters, and then I use the Renia water-based stuff for other things.
Have you tried Weldwood?
I think I had some very early on, but when I started buying stuff, I was buying bigger bottles, and I just ended up buying that. And I think it was at a class, we used Renia for a class out at Jim's one time. I was like, this works pretty good. So
where do you get that at?
I think I got that from Rocky Mountain Leather Supply, I think.
Okay.
I think that's where I ordered that from. Yeah.
Okay, cool style. Well, brother, we have been sitting here chatting for over an hour, and it's been a ball. The time has flown. But,
wow.
So we need to remind everybody again, Mark doesn't have much time. Only 2 of you can order belts at the moment.
Yeah, right.
Man, it's been a ball, brother. I was hoping to see at this auction. We got a big auction coming up next week.
Yeah.
But if there's anything cool that I see that I think that you're going to want, I'll FaceTime you and do a video, and I can get it for you or whatever you want.
All right, I appreciate it.
If that helps.
Thank you.
All right, brother. Semper Fi, Mac. I'm going to let you go.
All right, Semper Fi.
All right,
We'll
bye.
see you.